Hello everyone. Today is truly a special day for me, a red letter day indeed. When I started Reflections with Ranjan, I never knew whether this journey would reach such a remarkable milestone. Yet here we are, today celebrating the 100th episode of the podcast. This milestone belongs to all of you, each one of you, as it does to me as well. Your encouragement, your thoughtful feedback, your unwavering support and the affection you have been showering on this platform have given me the energy, the inspiration and the resilience to keep going episode after episode. From the bottom of my heart, I thank each one of you for being a part of this journey. Every view, every comment, every message and every word of encouragement has meant more than you can imagine. As we celebrate this milestone together, I seek your continued blessings, your support and encouragement as we embark on the next chapter of this journey. Thank you once again. Thank you for believing in Reflections with Ranjan. The best, I hope, is yet to come. Friends, as always with the milestone episodes, we will have a special guest today. Some journeys are measured in milestones, some in memories. Today's guest has lived both. From the temple city of Madurai to the demanding corridors of one of India's largest conglomerates, from engineering classrooms and hostel wings to becoming one of India's most respected voices in branding, leadership and thought. His journey has inspired professional, readers and aspiring leaders alike. But for me, this conversation is deeply personal. Before he became one of India's most respected marketing and branding leaders, before he became a best-selling author, before boardrooms, awards and corporate fames happened, he was simply my wingmate in an engineering hostel. We studied together, struggled through exams together, laughed through cultural festivals and dreamt about life together. We had this common thread of coming from humble background, from small cities, he from Madurai and I from 𝗏𝗏𝗃, but with the same common dream of making a matter in this big world. Today, we revisit not merely a career, but a life or journey. Welcome, dear Harish. Welcome to this 100th episode of Reflections with Ranjan. I just can't express my thanks to you for agreeing to do this. I know how busy you are and how occupied you are, but despite this busy schedule, you agreed for it. Thank you very much.
How would I ever miss out on the 100th milestone episode of your podcast, Reflections with Ranjan? Thank you for inviting me. And it's really, really special to be here with you. I know both of us went to BITS Pilani. We stayed together for 4 years on campus. And then we have charted our own ways through life. But before we start on that conversation, I want to tell you this. Recording 100 episodes of a podcast is truly a magnificent milestone. Doesn't happen often. It requires a lot of rigor, a lot of discipline, a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity. I can imagine what all has gone into it. I want to turn the tables a bit on you and ask you the first 2 questions. And my first question to you is, what has it been like recording these 100 episodes of Reflection with Ranjan?
Thank you, Harish. Thank you so much. And in fact, if you ask me, it's still not sinking in. I just can't imagine that we are shooting for the 100th episode. So it has been difficult, but there are people who are responsible who have helped me for doing this. My family, who has been constantly rock support, always have been supporting me for going ahead and not to stop at any stage. And of course, I have spoken to you about Mr. Sanjeev, my producer, who has been pushing me, sir, we should not stop. We should really further go on. And we must continue with this endeavor for time to time. And we must go on. So that has helped definitely. Of course, a few things. Resilience is one thing. What I also told in the beginning, that is something which has worked, which has helped. But the amount of support or amount of love and affection that I have received from my viewers or from others, around me, who have seen it, they might not have commented, but they have seen it, and the support they have given, the affection they have given, that has helped me in pursuing with this. Difficult, I know, but I have at least, as you told, you have talked about it also, discipline way. We have seen it. I have learnt it from all of you. So I have tried to become disciplined in that way to continue with my episodes after episodes.
A director of one of India's largest public sector organizations to now reinventing yourself as an author and a podcast host. This entire series, Ranjan, Reflections with Ranjan, what has been most fulfilling for you? What do you feel happiest about as you are entering the 100th episode today?
You still ask tough questions. You used to ask then. No, anyway, this journey of 100 podcasts have been a way of my learning as well. Okay, and some passion, some way to give back, and something which is in my mind which I have felt that others should know. Probably these are the things which has driven me to continue with this. And basically, Harish, I must tell you, my target has been, nuggets have been very small months. What are our day-to-day learnings? How do we do it? We have talked about gratitude, we have talked about kindness, we have talked about many other things, leadership traits and all we have talked about, but how it is important for the youngsters, how is it important for anybody who is listening to it. So I just thought this transition has as much as it is important for others, it's also internally has built me as well. It has brought me back to that retrospections which I probably did not do earlier.
So it's your way of giving back based on 4 decades of your experience, but also your way of reinventing yourself, learning from people whom you meet.
Absolutely.
That's lovely.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
That's what has kept me going.
Wonderful. But I must tell you, Ranjan, Reflections on Ranjan, people may have heard you through 100 episodes of your podcast, but I have heard Reflections with Ranjan ever since my days in Pilani.
That's so kind of you, Harish. So, to start with, let us travel to the roots, your roots, and before this boardroom happened, before you became a celebrated author, and before your journey of the current journey truly began. You had moved from Madurai to BITS Pilani. I had from Cuttack to BITS Pilani. We had those common things which were going on and all. Let me ask you very clearly, what kind of environment that shaped you in Madurai, which, you just thought that taught you certain things which was very helpful in taking it forward in BITS Pilani and in future.
So you're quite right, Ranjan. I think growing up in small town India gives you many learnings. I grew up as a schoolboy in Madurai, in Salem, in Coimbatore, in Kollam, small towns of India. Just apart from 1 year in Mumbai, the rest of the time was completely in small towns, my schooling. I think it taught me 2-3 things. One, that you may come from a small town, but you can dream big. You may come from any town, but you can still dream big. And that's something that was inculcated into me, I think, by both my parents and by the teachers of the schools that I studied in. Both my mother and my father wanted me to dream big. And I can tell you, the principal of my school in Madurai, from which I came to Pilani, he's still alive and he's here in Bangalore, Mr. Iyengar. He also said we should dream big and we should fly wherever we want to fly. So that was one distinct learning that I brought with me. The other learning, Ranjan, was really about giving it everything you have. These were small cities, and whether it was studies, whether it was elocution, whether it was, I used to play cricket as well in those days, long while ago, or whether it was quizzing, you learned that, you had to give everything you had if you really had to excel. And that was also a learning that I brought with me. I must also say that in some ways, traveling from one of these towns all the way to Pilani was a learning in itself. From Madurai, I had to come to Chennai by Pandian Express.
Okay.
From there, I had to take a train all the way to New Delhi. And from New Delhi, either we had to go to ISBT and take a bus to Pilani, or take a train to Loharu and then take a bus again to Pilani. So that journey of saying, we have so many stops to cover, whereas a person coming from Delhi to Pilani might have had just 4 or 5 hours to cover. That journey also told me that, in life also there will be many stops we have to cover, but eventually we will reach Pilani.
That's a very good thing. And you almost talked about what Dr. Abdul Kalam also talked about, the wings to fly. We must dream big, and we must dream wherever we are.
Yes, Sir Ranjan, and this is something I want to tell all the viewers on this podcast. Dreams are what sustain us. Dreams give us not only wings, but dreams also give us the wind beneath our wings. When you look at your dream, when my dream was to graduate from BITS Pilani, then my dream was to graduate from my MBA course at IIM Ahmedabad. Then my dream was to build some good brands for the Tata Group, and so forth. I can, maybe at a later stage, my dream was to write a book. And today I may have new dreams in life. But at every stage of life, if you're really dreaming with sparks in your eyes, then it gives you the energy to wake up every morning and say, "Aaj ye kuch karna hi hai." Dreams lead to not just action, but action with a lot of passion in it. And therefore, and I know that you are also a dreamer in your own right. And I think you'll agree with me that when we have dreams, we never stop living.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you have dreams, you keep living every day.
You keep living every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Harish, just taking back, I think I remember many a times we used to sit together. You used to talk about your parents very, very passionately, particularly your mother now, who is there with you. Two things I would like to ask. One is that what was really growing up with them? How it was? Second question is slightly tricky, I want to ask. Unknowingly, what values they planted within you?
So that's a nice question, Ranjan. I have not reflected on it, but thinking on my feet now as I'm answering you, I think, my dad was working in a public sector bank. He was with Canara Bank. That was the only job he held throughout his career. And he came from the town of Cochin, amongst the first few people in his family to get educated and come to a larger town or city and embark on a banking career. My mother used to be a teacher, and she came from Mangalore, and we are Konkani speaking people, very fond of fish eating, so to speak. And I think they came from middle class backgrounds. It's not that my dad used to earn a lot of money. Public sector banks used to pay whatever they used to pay at that time. But he ensured that my sisters and I got the best possible education. And I think that value for education was something that both my mother and my father, I found very strongly in their minds. For them, I think education was what would give us the freedom to do well in life, and they had seen it amongst their counterparts. So one part of growing up with them was a lot of attention to learning, not just through the classrooms. It was also about the first 2 books that they bought for me. I still remember in Madurai, they took me to a bookstore and bought me this book called Tom Brown's School Days, which I used to read for a very long time. A beautiful book. And also a book of Tom Sawyer, which I have read for many, many years. So it was about learning from the classroom, learning from the books that you read, learnings from, they made me a member of a library in Madurai so that I could go there and borrow books. I'm sure all this cost them money. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much they had to spend on it.
Correct.
I know they had a very tight household budget, but still they spent money on enabling each of us to learn. So I think that was one thing that I grew up with. The second thing that I grew up with was a lot of respect for elders, because when we were young, my grandfather was staying with us. Until I reached my 12th standard, my grandmother was living with us till she passed away. And they were seen as the elders of the house. And really speaking, I think they were not too well in the final years of their life, but still the entire home lived with a lot of respect for the elders who were there within the home. So I think that was also a value that I brought with me. And I would say, Ranjan, a third thing that was in my mind was this entire thought of don't do bad to others. Be good in whatever you do. It may have come through the behavior that my parents displayed. It may have come through what they spoke about. It may have come through some of the religious ceremonies at home. Or it may have even come through listening to my uncles or aunts speak. But I think that got imbued very strongly in me, that whatever you do, be good to others and try to add some value to others. Don't try to do wrong to others. And I think throughout my life, I have probably tried to stay good with those values. Whether I have done it 100%, I don't know. That others should tell me. But I have tried my best to ensure that
somebody to tell you that you have lived those. Although it must not have been told you so emphatically by your parents, but you really inherited that and you have always displayed that.
And I think the values that we get from our parents stay with us through life. But there is one more thing I also want to say, that they gave me a lot of freedom. I had the freedom to go out and roam on the roads of Madurai whenever I wanted, or the roads of Kollam, go out and watch a movie whenever I wanted. Never once was I asked which movie have you gone to or why have you gone there. I had the freedom to go out with friends once in a while and have some parathas or idlis in some small shop nearby. So I think that level of freedom also gave you the confidence that you could do things in life, that you were not constantly being observed. And in those days, we didn't have all these very, very detailed coaching classes and so forth. So
thankfully we were away from.
You studied. You knew you had to write engineering entrance exams and so forth. You studied, but you studied as part of your usual routine, not as some special package dropping down from the heavens. So I think those are some of the values that
again you spoke of that, but at that point of time when we were also in our class 12 and all, in major cities all these coaching scenarios etc. had already come. But I'm not taking that as an example, but I just would like to ask you, still at any point of time do you feel that there was some disadvantage of coming from a small city?
So I would say this, Ranjan, there were tutorials at that time also. I remember tutorials like brilliant tutorials at the time that we were Agarwal classes when we were preparing. I would actually think in smaller towns we had less distractions, and therefore we could pay more attention to whatever we wanted to do. So really speaking, I don't think, one of the disadvantages was whenever I wanted to appear at an entrance exam, sometimes I had to travel to Chennai because there was no exam center in Madurai in those days for some of the exams. But apart from that, I think education was good. If I talk of Kollam, where I did my 7th to 10th standard, Madurai, where I did my 11th and 12th standard, I look back on the schools. I look back at Infant Jesus School in Tangasheri in Kollam. I look back at Vikasa School in Madurai. They were very fine schools, and I think I got the best of education in them. So I really cannot complain. I think India is blessed to have those schools even in smaller towns. I'm sure even in Cuttack you had very good schools and colleges.
Absolutely, you are right. In fact, these are. I also feel these are more of advantages than of disadvantages. Being in a one question. What was your? Today, looking at the background, what was your biggest fear those days?
My biggest fear was whether I would be able to do something useful with my life. When I was in the 10th, 11th and 12th standard, I liked English literature, I liked writing, I liked science and mathematics, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. And I didn't really know whether I would succeed in doing something useful in life. And you had 70 or 80 years of your life stretching in front of you. You were not imagining 70, 80 at that time, but at least the next 10, 20 years of your life. And the constant fear in my mind was, would I ever make it? Would I ever do something useful in my life? Or would I end up not doing anything of either benefit to me or to others.
And did that help you to be constantly on your toes?
I think so. It helped me on being constantly on my toes, because I knew that if I had to get through to a very good engineering college, whether it is BITS Pilani or one of the IITs or one of the RECs at that time, I knew that I would have to score very well in my 12th standard exam. I would have to do very well in the entrance tests and so forth. So I think that definitely performance pressure on me, and I think some degree of performance pressure is very useful. It is important not to take it to the extreme. It is important to also do other things. But some degree of performance pressure brings out the best in you, according to me. Having said that, I would also say that I have never faced a situation where my parents asked me, not even once have they asked me, why have you scored so many marks or so many marks? I might have done very well in some classes. I might have done reasonably well elsewhere, or I might not have done well in some exams. But I think parents did not put undue pressure on me, and that was, I think, very good. If there was pressure, it was peer pressure. Everyone else who was preparing for the exams and so forth.
Last question on Madurai.
Yeah.
We'll move before we move on. What part of Madurai still stay with today? Still today. Okay. Madurai or Kola or whatever.
So Madurai, I think the Meenakshi Amman Kovil, the Meenakshi temple in Madurai, will never go out of my mind. I would go and spend long evenings within the temple, just sitting. There was a water tank inside the temple where the Sangam poets once used to write their Tamil poetry. I would go there, sit near the water tank, and very close to the water tank, there was a large statue, a large image of Lord Ganesha, which is in Tamil Vinayakar. I would go there and offer my prayers, roam around the roads which were around the temple. There were many flower markets, many vegetable markets, some shops. Once in a while, I would drink a lime soda in one of those shops. So I think that entire environment, that entire temple environment, is very, very strongly embedded in my mind. That's one thing. The other thing which is very embedded in my mind, Ranjan, was the entire. When you grow up in that culture, the entire Tamil language, the Tamil culture, Tamil food, all that, just comes into your mind. So even though my native language is Konkani, I still consider myself a naturalized Tamilian.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And to tell you very frankly, I got a chance to go to Madurai long after. Okay, but I mean, when you are talking about those things, I'm also imagining as a young Harish going around, and I just loved that atmosphere. I don't know whether they have still maintained those aura of 1980s or 70s still now, but I also loved it like anything. Yeah. You have those small bathing places, and you have the Ganesha temple, Ganesha Murti, Vigrah. I think Murti is there, and that was something lovely. Okay,
one last thing I remember about Madurai is it was also the place where I think in my 11th standard, my parents bought my first bicycle for me.
Okay.
And suddenly when I got a bicycle, it opened up the whole world, because you could just go wherever you wanted. I enjoyed the freedom which came with that first bicycle.
Wow. So you must have explored all the gullies.
I must have ridden all around the roads of Madurai, and I must have, maybe I have violated several traffic rules during that time also, but it was good freedom.
Okay.